about, Dave, working with, some people have questions, what about working with a school that's in pretty high achieving school? And how would you say SMARTStrengths fits into a model such as that?
I think it fits great. And I mean, of course, Culver was already a pretty high achieving school when we started here. But overall, I mean, one of the things we know about this is that the ability to be aware of one's strengths, the ability to think optimistically, these things don't seem to be tied to achievement levels the way some other things are. So you can go into a high achieving school and you're going to find lots of kids who have a fixed mindset. You're going to find lots of kids and teachers who are thinking pessimistically. And you're going to find lots of kids who are not really aware of their own strengths. You know, they may be using them some, but they don't know it. They're not aware of it. They're not making the best use of them. So even in schools that are already getting pretty good results on standardized test scores, for example, there is tremendous room for better achievement, both that will show up on tests, actually, and in realms that may not show up on the test, but are going to matter to the students and their parents about how they move forward in life, learning to develop leadership, learning to find those things that are their passion that they're going to pursue. The SMARTStrengths approach applies in those, and they're going to be finding optimism, thinking skills, and growth mindsets that will help them. You know, Carol Dweck's original work with growth mindsets was done at Columbia University. And she looked around among the population of students at Columbia University and saw fixed and growth mindsets and the difference it made for the achievement that those kids would have inside a very challenging academic environment. Even when they'd had a lot of success previously in life, they'd get there and sometimes it was too much for them. These skills are the ones that make the difference, whatever level of challenge you're able to take later on.
I think that's a good point, because if we're talking about students who have fixed mindsets, and let's say at a high achieving school where they've been told they've been smart their whole lives, and then suddenly they start getting into the B range or the C range.
They hit that stumbling block.
Right, and they feel as if, well, maybe I'm not a smart anymore. Am I a smart kid imposter? What am I going to do? I've always been told I've been smart. My parents have told me this. My teachers have told me this. And now, am I not smart anymore? And what am I going to do in this situation? I don't know what my next. Am I going to work harder? Well, that's not going to change it for me. You know, what am I going to do in this situation? It's very frustrating, as opposed to.
And it can completely throw them. They can shut down.
Oh, yeah.
You can run in. I mean, Carol Dweck saw people who just quit for a whole semester and lost out of school or lost out of a semester because they just gave up. And what we know from her research is that teaching about this stuff explicitly, plus how you tell stories and how you tell praise, you can easily tip people from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset so that your students go out better able to take their abilities and their talents and put them to use in the world.
So yeah, because with a growth mindset, I mean, it's about effort. It's about putting the perseverance and almost the grit to get things done. So when a student with a growth mindset has a situation where things aren't going well or a failure, that they can bounce back from that, and then they look to find a way to do that. And the more I think that teachers can understand this, that to help students kind of work through and kind of shift at times from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, the better off it's going to be.
Well, you know, two things about that. One, from the data. We know from research that's been done over the last 15 years or so that teachers can have an effect on how well students learn up to 3 years after the student leaves the teacher's classroom. So highly effective teacher, they learn a lot that year, but those kids learn better in the next years, even when they go with teachers that may not be as effective. And then the same thing, highly ineffective teacher can limit the learning of students down the road. What's going on with that? And I remember a story from one of our trainings here about one of your teachers who told the story about, I think she was a math teacher, and she had a student as a freshman that just didn't get it. She was struggling with freshman level math. She thought, this kid's just not got what it takes to do it. But the girl kept at it. She kept working. She worked hard. And she said, you know what? By the time she was a senior, she not only got it and did well, she would pick up on things I was missing. She could teach other kids concepts that they understood better from her sometimes they did from me. By that time, I thought she was a natural. And she said, truth of the matter is, I've realized I had something of a fixed view of how kids were in math, that you just taught me what I was doing. And she's my definite proof that it's about growth, not about being some kind of fixed talent that's there.
Yeah.